Well, Ross, thanks for joining us and congratulations. That really was a team performance and the response you needed.
Very much so, Dave. I'm so pleased for the boys, because we were all very low and disappointed at Walsall last week. We put in a performance there that when we all walked off, we were extremely disappointed in the fact we got beat, but we got beat in a manner that just never reflected anything that we want to have about us and the way that we feel that we go about our business. So a lot of frank discussions. I think I've mentioned that to you before. Good controlled discussions. You know, when you're losing games, you can quite easily get angry and people can get disappointed with each other, but it was controlled, it was mature, it was responsible, and we've managed to get a little bit of work into the boys and add some good looks at what we should be about, what we can be about, but what we haven't been about, and I thought tonight in abundance that looked like how I would want my team to look a little bit more.
Matt and I were struggling to find a man of the match because it was such a complete team performance.
Well, we've sort of said really, haven't we? I would say that the Wimbledon game was close to a good performance for a lot of the game. Other than that, it's probably not existed. So yeah, I think when the game looks in like it did tonight for us, it is tough to pick out those performances. You know, I thought every single one of the boys put a fantastic shift in. Defensively, we were so much better in terms of our intent to not just have to be deep and defend our box, mature in the way that we got up the pitch, and then we controlled the ball. So, and I think the goal reflects that. It's a very, very pleasing turnaround in a week with very little time to do much work.
Conor Wilkinson had a big impact, didn't he?
Yeah, and I think me and Con had a chat yesterday, and I could see it. Well, he told me he was disappointed to be coming out of the team, and I said to him, it works a couple of ways really. He's played a few games on the spin, and I felt that at the back end of the game, as good as he was at the weekend, he got his goal. The back end of the game at the weekend, he looked a little bit leggy, which he should do. It's no criticism the amount of football that he's played in a row. And at the same time, Jordan Maguire-Drew comes on and changes the game, gets a goal, and has a real impact. He needs a carrot in terms of getting back into the team. That's why you have competition for places. So I'm pleased that he's disappointed to a degree, and I'm pleased that he's come on and influenced the game in the way that he did.
And another for the DJ.
I said to him as we were coming off, I didn't think tonight was going to be your night, Dan. There were a couple of fellies way and he couldn't quite get his shots off, or he was shooting some sort of wide angles. And then he hooks the one over the bar that's sort of slightly behind him, and you think, oh, maybe it's not going to be Dan's night. But the move was fantastic. I know people have had a chance to see it back, but when you do, it starts from our goalkeeper. We build right through the pitch. Conor has a fantastic strike, and then it bounces to Craig Clay, who's really, really clever because he doesn't slash it, doesn't try to smash it in himself. He picks out the man at the moment who puts it in the corner.
Jobi McAnuff is such an important presence on the pitch.
Yeah, obviously I talk to Jobs a lot about what the team's doing and how they're doing it, and it's important that Jobi's out there, whether that's for 90 as it was today, and I like to call on him a couple of times to say you're gonna be okay to go through it, or whether it's coming on late in games when perhaps we can't start him. He has to have an impact on our team because he settles us down. He's obviously a fantastic footballer, we can't forget that, but he brings a calming influence and a maturity. I think that's one thing that we lack at times as a team, is we're a little bit honest and a little bit naive in terms of the way we communicate and how we help each other through tough moments. And to have Jobs out there, he gets you there.
Cisse was back to his best.
Yeah, and I think we have to help Cisse be a good player. As mad as that sounds, we have to give him the ball. We have to make the game suit Cisse. Otherwise, you might as well have someone who's just going to run around all over the pitch out there and not look to play to his strengths. When we play in the manner that we do tonight, two things happen. Someone will try and stop Cisse from playing, and there'll be space somewhere else on the pitch, or Cisse gets on the ball and has a really good game, which he did tonight. What I was really pleased with Cisse tonight was his defensive responsibilities. I've seen a lot of leadership qualities in Cisse certainly in the last week, which really pleases me, and he's satisfying. And it's another phase of the player that we brought in over the summer.
Big performance from Dan Happy.
Yeah, I just said to Josh Coulson, really pleased, because Dan stepped up to the plate. His defending was aggressive. We all know his qualities on the ball, the way he starts attacks, but his focus, his ability to defend the ball, the balls or some of the balls that came into the box. But for me, again, it's that intent to get up the pitch, not be comfortable just to sit on the edge of your own box. Go and be brave and defend higher, and at times, expose yourself with the space that's behind you. And Dan and Course did that tonight.
So Terry, okay, he took a blow on the back of the head, didn't he?
Yeah, I brought him off because I felt he was running out of legs, and there was probably one or two that we could have done it with there. Really keen to get Joe on because I felt he was going to shore us up and see us through, which he obviously did. So as far as I'm concerned, we're always jumping around in the changing room, dancing in there, so I don't think there's too much wrong with him.
I understand Louis Dennis is close to being in contention.
Lou was with us tonight. You might have seen him, depending on the time that he arrived at the ground, that he was running out here tonight. He was like that for the bench, and the conversation that I had with him, because he looked sharp in training despite the amount of time that he's missed. So you've got to be sensible. There's a lot of football coming, so we know that Lou's going to get his time out on the pitch and he's going to get his opportunities. So delighted he's back around the group, and he's only going to make us stronger.
The next game is Stevenage. Plenty of connections.
Yes, a lot. I suppose where do you start, really? Had a lot of, never knew him, but had a lot of interaction since Alex has got the job there. I've spoken to him quite a bit, not necessarily sharing ideas, but during lockdown, what were we doing, what was he doing, how he was going to find it stepping into it, the sort of vibe and the way he wanted to go about creating the atmosphere for his group at the club. So believe they got a result tonight. I haven't checked it for definite, but I believe they got a result tonight. So they understand, very well organised. The attentions will turn on the bus to making sure we're prepared for Stevenage at the weekend. I know I'm only touching on Alex Ravel there, but I know there's a number of other people at that club that are connected closely to us.
How do you prepare for that game? How much time will you get on the training ground for these players ahead of Saturday?
Well, we'll get back at God knows what time in the morning, but we'll be in tomorrow. Albeit probably a little bit later than the usual report time, to give the boys a little bit of time in bed. I know that I probably won't sleep a great deal, but it'll be up and back in tomorrow, because it's important for the boys that haven't played tonight. We need to work them. They need to get additional work into their legs, because they've missed out on time on the pitch tonight, so that they're prepared when they're called upon. So that's massive. And then also to aid the boys in their recovery. It's very, very difficult at the minute, Dave. Really interesting, because the impact that obviously the COVID scenario had on us really impacts us a lot. We've come here tonight on 2 buses. We end up having to split the boys up. There's no eating at the training ground in the mornings. So it's really tough to create that camaraderie and that togetherness for the group. So we'll get them back in tomorrow, and there'll be some sore legs, I'm sure. There'll be some aching bodies, but getting them into the building and getting a little bit more recovery work into them will aid us to be able to hopefully get a little bit more sort of tactical work as we get to the latter end of the week.
They're beginning to look as if they're back to full fitness.
Yes, and it makes it tough tonight. Some tough decisions. The fact that young Jordan Thomas has, I've been really impressed with his attitude and his patience. He suffered a real setback with the COVID scenario. It's made it really difficult for him to get a place back into the squad. But I've been really impressed with his composure and his focus to continue doing things right. And I'm standing here tonight, or this morning when I'm sort of making my final plans for the bench, and it's becoming a struggle to leave someone off. But if you're in that position, then people are we're going to find ourselves in a better place.